Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. On the day of Al-Khandak, the Battle of Trench, Umar bin al-Khattab came cursing the disbelievers of Quraysh after the sun had set and said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, I could not offer the Asr prayer till the sun had set." The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "By Allah, I, too, have not prayed." So we turned towards Buthan, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, performed ablution, and we too performed ablution and offered the Asr prayer after the sun had set, and then he offered the Maghrib prayer. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "If anyone forgets a prayer, he should pray that prayer when he remembers it. There is no expiation except to pray the same." Then he recited, "Establish prayer for my, Allah's, remembrance." Quran chapter 20 verse 14. Narrated by Jabir. Umar came cursing the disbelievers of Quraysh on the day of Al-Khandak, the Battle of Trench, and said, "I could not offer the Asr prayer till the sun had set." Then we went to Buthan and he offered the Asr prayer after sunset, and then he offered the Maghrib prayer. Narrated by Abu al-Minhal. My father and I went to Abi Barza al-Aslami, and my father said to him, "Tell us how Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, used to offer the compulsory congregational prayers." He said, "He used to pray the Zuhr prayer, which you call the first prayer, as the sun declined at noon, the Asr at a time when one of us could go to his family at the farthest place in Medina while the sun was still hot." The narrator forgot what Abu Barza had said about the Maghrib prayer, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, preferred to pray the Isha late and disliked to sleep before it or talk after it. And he used to return after finishing the morning prayer at such a time when it was possible for one to recognize the person sitting by his side, and he, the Prophet, used to recite 60 to 100 ayat or verses of the Quran in it. Narrated by Qurra bin Khalid. Once he waited for Al-Hasan and he did not show up till it was about the usual time for him to start his speech. Then he came and apologized, saying, "Our neighbors invited us." Then he added, narrated Anas, "Once we waited for the Prophet, peace be upon him, till it was midnight or about midnight. He came and led the prayer, and after finishing it, he addressed us and said, 'All the people prayed and then slept, and you had been in prayer as long as you were waiting for it.'" Al-Hasan said, "The people are regarded as performing good deeds as long as they are waiting for doing good deeds." Al-Hasan's statement is a portion of Anas's hadith from the Prophet, peace be upon him. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. The Prophet, peace be upon him, prayed one of the Isha prayer in his last days, and after finishing it with taslim, he stood up and said, "Do you realize the importance of this night? Nobody present on the surface of the earth tonight would be living after the completion of 100 years from this night." The people made a mistake in grasping the meaning of the statement of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and they indulged in those things which are said about these narrators. Some said that the day of resurrection will be established after 100 years, etc. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Nobody present on the surface of earth tonight would be living after the completion of 100 years from this night." He meant when that century, people of that century, would pass away. Narrated by Abu Uthman. Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr said, "The Sufa companions were poor people, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, 'Whoever has food for 2 persons should take a third one from them,' Sufa companions. 'And whosoever has food for 4 persons, he should take 1 or 2 from them.' Abu Bakr took 3 men, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, took 10 of them." Abdurrahman added, "My father, my mother, and I were there in the house." The sub-narrator is in doubt whether Abdurrahman also said, "My wife and our servant, who was common for both my house and Abu Bakr's house." Abu Bakr took his supper with the Prophet, peace be upon him, and remained there till the Isha prayer was offered. Abu Bakr went back and stayed with the Prophet, peace be upon him, till the Prophet, peace be upon him, took his meal, and then Abu Bakr returned to his house after a long portion of the night had passed. Abu Bakr's wife said, "What detained you from your guests, or guest?" He said, "Have you not served them yet?" She said, "They refused to eat until you come." The food was served for them but they refused. Abdurrahman added, "I went away and hid myself, being afraid of Abu Bakr, and in the meantime he, Abu Bakr, called me, O Gunthar, a harsh word, and also called me bad names and abused me and then said to his family, 'Eat. No welcome for you.' Then the supper was served. Abu Bakr took an oath that he would not eat that food. The narrator added, 'By Allah, whenever any one of us, myself and the guests of Sufa companions, took anything from the food, it increased from underneath. We all ate to our fill and the food was more than it was before its serving. Abu Bakr looked at it, the food, and found it as it was before serving or even more than that. He addressed his wife, saying, O the sister of Bani Firas! What is this?' She said, O the pleasure of my eyes! The food is now 3 times more than it was before. Abu Bakr ate from it, and said, that oath was from Satan, meaning his oath, not to eat. Then he again took a morsel, mouthful, from it and then took the rest of it to the Prophet. So that meal was with the Prophet. There was a treaty between us and some people, and when the period of that treaty had elapsed the Prophet peace be upon him divided us into 12 groups, the Prophet's companions, each being headed by a man. Allah knows how many men were under the command of each leader. So all of them, 12 groups of men, ate of that meal.